Hala Bahmet, you're the costume designer for This Is Us, which aired its sixth and final season this spring. The last season included a second wedding for Kate, who married Philip after having previously married Toby. Was that the heaviest lift of for the costume department this season?
No, I mean it was the show. I love making the wedding dresses. Those are my favorite. I love making gowns. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I love making gowns for Chrissy. And I have made two of them for her, and it was challenging because each one had to be different because they're two different weddings, two different times in her life. And I wanted to have different necklines and different beading and lace effects and all like that. But overall, the most challenging thing about our show is that we jump around in time so much. We never know what decade we're going to be in until we get the script just, a few days before we shoot it. So, and we also work with a lot of prosthetics, prosthetic body prosthetics, and prosthetic makeup. Our makeup department's incredible. But and we also work with a ton of children. This year we had four different principal actors playing our three main children. We had 3-year-olds, we had 3 to 5-year-olds playing the kids when they were younger, 9 to 12-year-olds playing them when they were in tweens, 15 to 21-year-olds playing them as teens and college kids, and then the adult actors, Chrissy Metz and Justin Hartley and Sterling K. Brown. So we would never know who. And then we also had lots of babies, extras, tons and tons of babies that we would see them when they're 3 months old, and we would see them when they're 5 months old. And at one point we had 8, and then we did this again with the children of Kate and Toby. At one point we had 8 baby Jack. We needed multiples of 8 for their son, baby Jack. We had 3 sets of twins and 2 different dolls, one that could be animatronic and one that just was stationary. It was just, so it appears on the surface to be just a nice, touching, emotional family drama is actually really complicated behind the scenes. I mean, I've even had costume friends say, "Oh, what a lovely show. It's probably not that difficult costume-wise." And I just think, there's so many, it moves at such a fast pace too, as we all know, all of us in costumes, we all know what the pace of it. So anyway, that's, for me, the most challenging thing is getting a new script and suddenly having to figure out how we're going to make it all happen. And it might involve custom made bridesmaids dresses or wedding dresses, or it might involve, stunts and car accidents, or it might be 1914, or it might be 1954, or it might be 1954, 1964, and 1984 all in one episode, like that. So, but that's what I like about it too, is because it's always something different. It's always I don't know if I would be happy with a project where I was just doing the same thing over and over again. I think I would probably get bored with that. So I'm not sure I want to do another show where we're span 100 years of time every week, but I do want to, I have really enjoyed it, and it's been a really big part of my life for 6.5 years. I did the pilot and I've been with the show, and we're just, last night we aired our penultimate episode, and next Tuesday is our final episode. And it's very emotional, the storytelling, and how Dan Fogelman, our show creator, has wound up the stories of all these different people in the family, how he's woven them all together, and now we're having this kind of closure. It's really beautifully written, and it is really emotional for me. And like what Michelle said, similar to Michelle, I feel very emotional because I've devoted so much of my life to it. Okay, now I'm gonna cry. And the stories are so emotional and they're so real. That's, for me, that's part of why I'm so connected to the characters, because for me, they're like, after all this time, they're like real people to me. When I think about what they're going to wear and how to dress them, and the costumes that I'm making and designing and building and buying and renting and finding all over the world, for me, they're real people. So that's sort of my through line, and it kind of keeps me I feel like I've gotten to know them so well that they are my friends. And now we have to let them go. And now I have to let them go. So it's quite emotional.
And you're, as you mentioned, you're dealing with these characters through different time periods. When the show started, it was past and present. What was your thought process when you first learned, okay, now we're going to the future as well, and the different challenges that would entail?
Oh, yes. Well, as you said, when I when we did the pilot, none of us knew that the show was going to jump around in time so much. We thought we were going to be in just the 2 time periods, as you said, and just have this nice family drama and tell these beautiful stories. And then we discovered that yes, we're going to be all over the place, including into the future. My process for looking to the future, and when we do future, I'm not talking about sci-fi or anything really unusual. We go to 2025, 2030, 2035, going 10, 15, and maybe even 20. I don't think we haven't gone beyond 20 years in the future. But while tracking some family members as they grow up or become adults and have children of their own and like that. That's why we go into the future. So it's not sci-fi. It's not, spaceships and, special costumes and anything like that. But it is really challenging for me, for my team, for us to figure out, so what would we be wearing in 5 years? What are we going to wear in 5 years? What are going to be the trends? What are going to be the styles 5 years, 10 years from now? And 15 years from now. So what my technique is to try to understand where we might be in in 5, 10, 15 years, is I go back that same amount of time. So if we're going to 2030, I'll go back 10 years, whatever, however many years, I'll go back 8 years, 10 years, and I'll look at all the fashion magazines and the styles, and I'll look at, the research, and I'll see how that is different from our current styles right now. And then I use that sort of to inspire me to change it up just a little bit for what we're doing for the future. So that's actually really fun because, but the other thing is we don't really do anything over the top. Our show creators and our writers and our directors, nobody really wants the costumes to be super duper attention getting most of the time. Most of the time they want the costumes to just be there to make sure that we all know where we are in time, what era we're in, for the actors to, to suit the storytelling. But we kind of let the costumes we don't go too bold with them, so that we get this chance to tell the story with the actors and their faces and their discussion and their dialogue and all that stuff. So when I'm saying we go back, it's not like I suddenly do like all this kind of crazy trendy stuff when I go back in time either. So it goes both ways. When I go into the future, I don't go crazy and make it look like something that's distracting. And when we go back in time, I do the same thing. I don't make my characters so period looking that it's really distracting to the storytelling. I think that's probably true for all of us, unless a costume really needs to be outstanding or notable. I mean, they always have to be outstanding, but unless they need to be notable and really grab everybody's attention for the costume, I feel like a lot of us sort of just, dial it back a little bit just to make sure that we don't, that we're part of the whole of the filmmaking of that scene.
What will you miss most about making the show now that you're done producing it and it's almost done airing?
Okay, I'm going to start crying again because we're just tomorrow's my last day. So what I'm going to miss most are the people and the good friends that I've made on the show. It's really on the surface for me right now because we're just finishing up, and we've all been together for all these years. The actors and a lot of my crew have been with me the whole time. And so for us, it's and we've all, everyone, all of us, and I speak for the actors too when I say this, none of us really knew what we were getting into. None of us really knew how important these characters and these stories and this experience was going to be for all of us, and in many different ways. And so it's just, that's going to be the hard part, is not seeing the people who have become like my family every day.
Well, congratulations on your work on the show and all the hard work your department has done. You've been recognized with Emmy nominations, so knock on wood for more to come. And it's been a pleasure talking with you about it.
Thank you so much.